In the camera view there, you see my 9913 that used to be a knee bar machine, and now it is a hand crank. And I want to show you an idea that came to me from Stephen Armstrong, and it regards the bobbin winder on a 99. When you convert a 99 from an electric to a hand crank, what happens is the bobbin winder, even with an adjustment, which I've talked about before, sometimes you have to hold the bobbin winder down for it to contact the hand wheel. Now, what I want to show you is something that Stephen came up with a great idea, and I have to take the hand crank off to show it to you, and I'm going to take the hand wheel off also to show you at what point you do this. If you're once you're converting, you may not have to adjust the bobbin winder, is what I'm saying. And when you're converting an electric 99 to a hand crank, you may just be able to change the hand wheel and one slight change to the bobbin winder that's not about adjusting. So let me pick up the camera, and here we are. This is the 99. I took off the hand crank and the clutch wheel. So here's a loose hand wheel. And so when you're changing a machine like this from an electric, you're taking off a small solid hand wheel and you're putting on that hand wheel, and you're attaching the hand crank down here. So if you pop this bobbin winder tire off and then leave it off as you continue converting the machine, at this point Stephen had the great idea, and we knew that was going to happen, of using an elastic band to go around the hand wheel and to sit in the spot where the bobbin winder tire was. It's a brilliant idea. So let me pick up my screwdriver and put the elastic on there and show you. It's already been one of those days. It's getting to be about 80 degrees out. Now I'm hoping this elastic doesn't break. If you, this one's kind of worn. If you grab an elastic from like broccoli or any of the larger vegetables at a grocery store, now this can fit on two places on that hand wheel, but where the yellow belt is where it would ride better. But let me just put the clutch wheel back on and tighten it up, and then I'll just move it by hand. So what you would need to do when you're converting the machine is just take the bobbin winder tire off when you're in between the two types of hand wheels. And then anytime you want to wind a bobbin, instead of having to make any bobbin winder adjustment, and this is why it has to go on the, where I have the yellow belt is where the elastic needs to go to line up with the bobbin winder. So right now this elastic is not really fitting on that bobbin, on that path. That's where the elastic has to go. So instead of adjusting the bobbin winder, you pop an elastic, a large elastic, over the hand wheel where you see that yellow belt and this track, line it right into the bobbin winder, and you use it as a belt. And my yellow belt is pushing it out of the way, but you use it as a belt to wind the bobbin instead of adjusting your bobbin winder. It's something I'm surprised that we haven't thought of or talked about before, because for years, one of the issues that comes up with a 99 is what do you do with the bobbin winder. So this is a brilliant idea, and I don't want to take my yellow belt off of there, which is why I'm not demonstrating it perfectly, but you get the idea that a simple elastic band can be a belt for your bobbin winder on a Singer 99 that you convert to hand crank. Now, Stephen had picked up on that idea with a 99, and frankly, I hadn't thought of it. But I had thought of it with the white family rotary. Now, white family rotaries, and you can see I've got all my stuff on this one, and we are at the kitchen sewing table, which is a little crowded right now. But white family rotaries, you can't buy a hand crank for them. And I do have a video up where I used unknowingly a sock darner egg as a hand wheel on this. And when I have that sock darner egg hand wheel on here, I get 1 stitch per turn with the machine, but it leaves, without a motor on it, it leaves that same belt track open, and you can do the same thing with an elastic on here. And what I have already done, the yellow belt that you saw on the 99, I actually have one that fits the white family rotary bobbin winder. And I just pop it over the hand wheel and onto the, I do the same thing I just showed you with the 99, only I use a yellow piece of treadle belt, and for me it came up with the white family rotary. And I mentioned, I don't know why I didn't think of it with the 99, but the white family rotaries often are found with really old motors. Most of them are friction motors. You can get a new motor and a friction pulley, but you have to kind of know what you're doing to get the right motor on a white family rotary. I was lucky enough to get an early white family rotary, and I could put a reverse rotation motor on it that is not a friction motor. But when I take this belt off, and when I first got the machine, I hadn't found the motor yet, and I had my darning egg hand crank, and that's when I decided, well, I'm going to use this with a belt. So I had thought about it with the white. Oftentimes the whites are not used as often. When you find an old Singer 99 and it's able to sew, it's more likely to be put in use than a white family rotary, simply because of the friction motor, the fact that there aren't any hand cranks, a lot of different reasons. White treadles are beautiful pieces of furniture that are usually expensive. There's a lot of reasons why it's a little bit harder to Mickey Mouse a white family rotary than it is with a Singer 99, which is just, it's the way it goes. But anyway, you can, so that same thing I just demonstrated that Stephen thought of with the 99, you can do on a white family rotary. And believe it or not, a darning egg hand crank on here is not an unpleasant experience. So if you see a white family rotary and you like it, you really can attach a handle just to the spoke and have a hand crank that does 1 stitch per turn. Innovations from the kitchen sewing table.